CoVersity is a dedicated space from Aarohi open learning community where youth who are between 14 to 21 can explore and deep dive into their interests along with a cohort to discover their passions and become a professional. So today's agenda is deep dive. You're going to be hearing the word deep dive a lot, and we are going to see how it really is one of the ways to kind of discover your passion. So Ratnesh, any thoughts from you before we kind of dive into the whole deep diving topic?
Well, my thought is that this is the only life I have. Let me do things that I like doing. Simple. And yeah, it's worth investing into it because that's what I like doing, or rather discovering it as we go and live our lives.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
the invitation is to be the driver of your life.
Absolutely. And also enjoy the process of discovering your passion, right? Like not be
Yes.
very puzzled or fussed about it. It's okay. It's a journey. It's a journey we are all taking. And okay, I'm very excited to kind of look at the various aspects of deep diving and discovering one's passion. So let me start with one thought. There's this a natural and a very valid concern when it comes to families and when the youth in the family is trying to find their profession, when that youth age comes off and you have to decide on a profession. There's this whole gamut of challenges in terms of either someone has multiple interests or someone is not sure of their interest, or there is a concern that one is constantly changing their interests. So how do we, when in any of these situations, how do the youth really go about deciding on a particular profession, let's say? Like, what's the way out? How do you see it?
Well, I would say, first of all, it's very, very natural for somebody in that age group to either have multiple interests or not sure even of one interest, or the one of the best is constantly change interest, because I think there is no hurry, and I think more or less parents are also realizing there is no hurry to make the child reach somewhere, and are giving more and more parents are giving space for children to explore. Meaning, I know of, meaning if I look at my own daughter, she had so many different interests. Earlier it was art, then it became dance, then it went back to more art, then education, then sustainability, then spirituality. My goodness, so many different things. And she still keeps changing them. And she's 24. But being an open learner, being a person who has done self-led journey, she has enjoyed each one of them at that time. And I think that is the biggest thing. I think we should just enjoy each, because each is going to develop me. So that's the way I look at it. What do you say?
Yeah, pretty much my journey also has been similar. Like I have explored various domains and I've kind of enjoyed each of those. And at times, even I would beat myself up to not having the clarity of, having one particular interest. But to finally come to the realization that each of them is worth exploring and worth giving your time. And, you have to like invest and enjoy that moment as your if there's something that really interests you. But looking more at, the whole aspect of exploration, right? Like, how do we look at the exploration in itself, as we call the deep dive, right? You want to share some thoughts on the whole aspect of deep dive?
Yeah. So what I have observed in the last almost 15 years of working with youth is when they have multiple interests and they're not sure. First of all, they have to come out of this whole thing that world thinks you have to have something. When people keep asking, what are you up to? They're expecting a straight answer. So people should say, I'm exploring myself and exploring this beautiful world, and give me time, please. Okay. So that's first thing I would say you should do. And the second thing is, what I've observed is that when we get into trying to do multiple things at the same time, since we are not able to get, let's say, deeper or show or even see for ourselves good work in each field, we only feel low about ourselves and everybody else also starts worrying. However, when we take one thing at a time, then we are able to go deep. We are able to see that we are able to move in it, go deep, produce something, produce value for others, develop our skills, not just the domain skills, our own self and professional skills. Then I think people stop asking this question. We start getting more, uh, you can say, enjoyment out of it and satisfaction out of it. And though I may move ahead, change to another interest, but that deep diving does something to us. And I think that itself is much better than just doing many things at the same time, hoping that something will emerge. Because then it's difficult. Then we end up taking a decision more in favor of what's popular. But what's popular doesn't necessarily means it's very satisfying for me. So I would invite youth who has multiple interests or is confused about different interests to just take any one, whichever appealing to you right now, go spend some time over it, go deeply into it, then move on to the next one, and then move on to the next one till you say, this is one thing, or these are the many things I want to do in life.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you were speaking, I'm hearing three things, One, when I kind of deep dive, I have the satisfaction myself, it's no longer just scratching the surface and, very superficial work. I'm kind of going into it and enjoying the process. The second aspect is I also get an idea about what really that domain is, right? Because I remember this one instance where one girl was very interested in filmmaking, almost to the point of thinking of it as a profession. But when she interned on a film set, is when she realized, okay, I like this, but maybe not as a profession. So it gives you that, that perspective to make an informed choice. And the third part I'm seeing is it kind of transforms you at a very personal level. So even if tomorrow you switch the domain, all that effort is not wasted. You've, taken skills along the way. You've kind of learned to interact with the industry. So all that is happening, and somewhere it's kind of going to pay off in the future. Like it's part of your journey in that sense. Yeah.
Forget future. It's already paid. Sorry. No, I'm saying, wait. Forget future. It will pay off in future, but it's already paid off. Every day that I apply myself to any interest, I am developing myself very strongly. So on a daily basis, it is paying me, because at that moment, that thing is high on me. It's like they say, now look at that person, he's so high on this, he's got full his energy or focus, or, I think that state, which is called the state of flow, or I would call it meditative state, that is so amazing. Right? So one shouldn't think of it being a future investment. It's a immediate benefit that you are getting. And the bonus is it will help you in future, because your whole perspective, your whole experience adds up like cumulative.
True. Okay, we have a question from someone who is asking how to convince parents about open learning. And parents are not in favor. They pressurize children to go with the society flow.
Okay. I think, first of all, don't worry about convincing parents. Okay. Because when we try and convince, we are all the time looking for a result. I would just say, just have lots and lots of dialogues around it without the intention of convincing. They would have their own reason. Let's listen to that. Let's share our reasons. And the biggest thing that you can share is stories. Bring stories of hundreds and thousands of millions of people who have changed their professions, who are working now in an industry which they had nothing to do in terms of qualification. And then you'll suddenly realize that, okay, it's not about education, but it's about your desire, your interest. So I think dig out stories. In fact, the stories are all over there. Chances are one of your parents themselves have changed their profession. So it's not too difficult. The idea is to keep bringing these stories, and one place is our CoVersity website has some stories, but obviously we will have only our people's story. But as you look around, I'm sure you will get lots of stories. Just keep sharing, just keep talking, and just when you start also doing work in one field, people will start noticing you. Then they will be more accepting of your focus, because then they can see you producing. Let's say results, or producing, okay, forget results, just producing, just doing work and with seriously in one thing. I think that's what is really important. So just start doing that somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would also invite you to, we regularly have meetups on Saturday, especially on open learning. These are great places to, kind of connect with other open learners and see how their journey has been, and maybe also invite your parents to such meetups. So if you need a link, do DM us and we'll share that with you.
So Kritika, when we say deep dive, to you, what does deep dive mean? Deep dive in any one field, what does that mean in terms of actual action? How does it pan out? Somebody who has kind of wants to know, what is this deep dive?
Yeah. So at least, okay, personally, when I look at deep dive, when I think of an interest, when it's at an individual level, I'm doing some exploration and it's kind of, you're at that individual level. But if I want to think of it as my profession, or, want to seriously explore it, then I would say one has to see how one really relates to that domain in terms of the industry that it is in. So to get an idea of what is happening in this industry, and what is what are the skills that are required, and basically do a lot of work, basically get into action. So deep dive for me is understanding the industry, doing work that is relevant to the industry and is adding value to the world, and getting a better sense of my understanding of what this domain is. So deep dive is really action, all action for me. Okay, I think we lost Ratnesh. We'll just wait for him to join. But yeah, deep dive is really about knowing the domain or the industry, and seeing what it really means, rather than just exploring it at an individual level. It's really about going out there, meeting the people who are part of this industry, finding mentors, building skills that are relevant in this day and age, and doing a lot of work. So that's what deep dive really is what it means when we look at it from a CoVersity point of view. It's really about understanding your domain and connecting with the industry that you're part of. So, all right. So while Ratnesh is joining, maybe we can just continue with the conversation. If you have any doubts or questions, do post it in the chat, and we'll see how we can take it forward. Yeah. The other thought is, there's always this constant dilemma or challenge that the youth face. Like, is it really important to have one particular passion? That's the other big concern that families and youth are constantly grappling with as they're, on this journey of finding their profession. So, at least from a CoVersity point of view, we say, take up whatever you want at a particular time, whatever interests you, and give it your all focus, energy, dedication, and almost live it like a profession. Can you do that? And if after, let's say, a considerable amount of time of 6 months, or at least 6 months, we would say, if you feel that you still have the urge to keep going further in this domain, then you keep doing that. But if you at some point feel, okay, I kind of explored it with a lot of commitment and full dedication, but somewhere I want to look at some other profession, then please, there's almost that flexibility that CoVersity gives you to look at another domain. So it really is. So at least at CoVersity, we feel each interest is worth exploring, and even if there are there is a thing of shifting interest, all that effort, as Ratnesh and I were discussing, it kind of adds up to your to your whole self, and that really is the bigger highlight when it comes to being on such deep explorations. And whereas one side we have the professional skills that we are building up, and connecting with the industry, all that comes off, and then there is this whole self transformation that's happening because it is led by you. You're driving the journey, you're reaching out to people, you're learning how to connect with people in the industry, you're trying to understand what this industry is all about, and making an informed choice whether you want to stay in it or switch. So whether we don't really focus on whether one interest is needed or one passion is needed. We are saying go all out, explore as many as you want, especially in the youth, in this phase of your life, right? Where you have the flexibility and the explore as many interests. Okay, so maybe we'll just wait for Ratnesh to join again. I am ending this live, but we will connect very soon once Ratnesh has figured out what is wrong at his end. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if I can add Ratnesh. Um, okay, let me see if he's able to join. Okay, I think there's some glitch at his end. We'll just kind of end this live and start again. Okay, here he is. All right.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was just not loading any which way.
Never mind. So we had some
Yeah.
technical glitches, but glad we could continue the same live.
Hmm. So I don't know where were we in our conversation. Yeah.
Deep into the dive.
We were deep into
So
deep diving. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think somewhere the whole conversation was about deep dive, is about really about understanding the industry that my domain is into, and lot of action. It's all about action, going there and seeing how you relate to this domain when it comes to adding value to the world. So that is where,
Hmm.
at least at CoVersity,
Yeah.
we value deep dive as that.
So I put it sometimes very simply. I tell people don't think too much about deep dive in terms of anything else other than starting with time. Right? If I whole day think and do work only in one area, whatever be that one area, but whole day, as in whatever is my waking hours, let's just call it, other than my lunch and dinner, even that time I'm like constantly thinking, to me that is deep dive.
Hmm.
Automatically, when you are all the time thinking, so let's say 8 hours you sleep, so 16 hours you are awake, you're 16 hours ready to think about something, right? If you are there, meaning somewhere there, meaning I won't say count the 16 hours, but you get the point, then automatically you will read about it, talk about it, meet about it, whatever, fail about it, do about it, succeed about it, and so on and so forth, and research about it. Everything else will automatically happen. Even if you don't go very wide, even if you just keep doing one thing again and again and again and again, that's like, to me, that's deep. So we had, we some of you would have heard about the 10,000 hour rule, that says that if you put in 10,000 hours into something, you become an expert accordingly. Now, I'm not saying blindly follow that 10,000 hour rule, but intuitively it makes sense. In anything, if I'm doing that kind of work, even if I'm doing just one thing, I would automatically become like super in that. So to me, that is deep diving. Rest of it will happen. You may go very wide. You may explore many nuances. You may explore some nuances. You may focus on one aspect. Let's say in movie making, for example, I can only focus on, let's say, camera and camera work. Or I can look into camera also, costume also, dialogues also, screenplay also, direction also. So either which way, but if I'm spending 16 hours on it, that's a
Yeah, as we say, if you can live your passion almost like your profession, I mean, that's when okay, I'm kind of itching to do more and more and more. I'm kind of invested. It's no more a burden, and it's no more task or a chore for the day. You're looking forward to kind of going further in your journey. Hmm. So, Rakesh, the other thought that youth often grapple is, what about the scope? Like, if I have an interest, but the scope, there are these thoughts about what about the scope? Is it really popular? Will it have any,
Yeah.
like,
So
will I
let me give you example. Yeah. So I want to answer this with an example. Yeah. So my son started playing. He's 18 now, but he started playing football at around 15. So he was a late comer into the world of football, and everybody said you are too late. You should have started when you were 8, 9 years, and this that, and you won't do anything. Now he is from, let's say, 15. Now he's 18. 3.5 years he has been only playing football 6 days a week, only focusing on football, reading football, watching football, playing football, exercising, food, everything related to football. Now, somebody will say, yeah, but you haven't reached any big professional level. You're not even the best player in your local club. And what will happen to your future? How will you earn? And people ask me also this question, and I say, pause. We are all thinking that it has to be driven by professional success is only to be driven by money. But if I look at it in terms of just the single most important professional skill, which is to stick and do something, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep focusing on it, I think that to me is the real professional skill. And then I say that is what he is developing. Okay, even if let us assume after some years he realizes there's no money in it. Fair enough. I'm sure he can get into another field where there's money in it. But at least for these many years, he has developed the core professional value of doing something deeply. And I think that
Mm.
nobody can debate. Any field, if I have that core professional value, then I can replicate that in any other field. And that is what he's developing to me, apart from whether he earns money out of it. So professionalism is about trying to give value and to yourself and to others, uh, meaningfully. If I can give that value, then I'm there. So I would look at it this way. If somebody says in this field, how will I earn money later? I will say, don't worry. If you can earn joy in it, earn joy in it right now. Later on, either you will find out a way to earn money, or you will move on to something because you have learned how to enjoy doing something totally. I think that's the big deal.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I'm also thinking about, the way and the rate at which even domains evolve, right? They're never static. So
Yes.
it's no point fussing about what's popular now. Rather, we invest our, time, energy, and commitment towards what we love doing. Because we love doing it, we will kind of find out and discover ways to kind of, maneuver our way through as the domain evolves because you're so invested in it. So yes, domains are going to evolve and go through various ways of transformation, but if you're truly committed and truly invested in it, you will find your ways, is how I look at it.
Absolutely. And the other thing that we need to keep in mind is that while domains may change, even skills required may change, the sense that we get when we are invested into one, the sense of people, the sense of any domain, the industry, what we call as domain intelligence, that is something that develops us mentally, matures us professionally. Not necessarily in terms of skills, but in terms of the field itself. And again, that professional maturity can reflect into any, either in the same field I can find something that I may want to do, or even if I change that professional maturity. It's somehow, I will tell you one thing. When I came out into this work world at the age of 23, 24, I did not have the professional maturity. Yeah, that was what I was lacking, and it hit me when I kind of first job that I joined, and I realized, oh, how in that sense I am not so strong. Yes, I may have whatever with me, but that professional maturity. So I think that is something also which we kind of not realize and not talk about much. Some other time we can talk in good detail about, maybe I should write one detailed article about what is this professional maturity. But anybody who has worked in one field knows that you have that sense of that field. In Hindi, obviously in English you say he has experience. In Urdu or Hindi they say tajurba. That feel that you have, and that can be just used anywhere, I think.
Yeah.
So, Kirtika, sometimes when people have interests, especially youth, they are also, questioned by people that you're forget the money part of it, but it is kind of frivolous. It is not seen as a, what should I call it, premium profession. Is your interest a premium thing? Let's say if I say I'm into coding and AI, everybody will say, wow, man. And if I say I'm into cooking, people will say, okay, meaning this is what is this big deal about? Like, cooking has been around since human beings were born. So fashionable and non-fashionable. So often people get swayed by, I should be investing into something which is fashionable. What do you think about? You've been into some non-fashionable professions yourself. How did you feel, including now?
Yes, absolutely. I think mine was very much the journey of, because I took the domain which was most popular at my time, which was engineering and coding and computer, irrespective of this, discerning whether I really have an interest or not. But I think if one has to be like, one wants to lead a worthwhile life where we are enjoying and doing what we like doing. I mean, if you come from that mindset, then I would definitely say go for the passion or go for the interest that you are keen on, because that's what I thought. I thought, okay, if I choose the most popular one somewhere, I'll be settled somewhere, but somewhere it doesn't work like that. At least it didn't do that for me. So I went about exploring multiple domains after that, and really kind of investing my focus and energy in areas that interest me, whether it is sustainability or alternative education. And I kind of found my way there. So even for parents, I would say it's really about I'm just taking the example of content creation. I mean, where was it a few years ago, right? And today influencers are like are like the boss people, right? So really each domain is worth exploring, in my opinion, and especially if you are interested in one should definitely give it a chance, at least, is what I think.
And I have a tip for the youth. And the tip is very simple. If parents are not convinced, if people are looking down at your interest or you are feeling, what is this? I'm not in a popular or fashionable interest. Somehow start earning in it. The day you start earning, and that too early on, figure out a way, and that is where cohortsity we can sit together and brainstorm and come up with, I'm sure you can find. The moment you start earning out of something, everybody else backs off. However, whatever it is here, in a way, money speaks, right? So start earning in a small way. You don't have to earn big time money. You have to, you can stop that earning stream the moment you are able to do what you are fashionably able to do. So, one of our Aarohi child, what he all the time thought about, how can I start a little business in this field or that field, and he started kind of earning, even though it was just like 200 rupees here, 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees here. But then everybody around was like, wow, and that is what allowed him to continue. He did change fields later on, but the very fact that he could get even a pocket money into the whole thing. So I that is my one tip. That is very easy way to one is feel good about oneself, and also so earn to learn, kind of the formula that we talk about. Start earning. That will give you industry exposure. That will give you, and that will silence people, and then you can actually go deeper into the area which need not be very fashionable, but because you like doing it, you can go into it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Ratnesh, I'm going to come up with a heavy question loaded for you. So, what, what, what if tomorrow you're not successful in your chosen interest? I mean, professionally not successful, as they say. I mean, this is also something that's constantly thrown at youth, right? What if you don't succeed in this? Then what?
Well, I would say, what if I don't succeed in something? I'll just change it. That is the kind of tenacity you develop when you go deep diving into something. That is the kind of abilities you. Let me talk about one of our child. His name is Advik. It is not about success or not success, but he started at the age of 14. He started getting involved into financial world, stockbroking, tracking the stock market and all that. And for almost, this COVID years, 2020, 2021, 2022 almost. So almost 3 years, he kind of deep dive, 2.5 years, he deep dive into it. Well, let's not call him whether he's successful or unsuccessful. But one fine day he says, Abhi, let me see some other part of the world also. But what I again see is, it is not about success or not successful. Okay. But it is more about his ability to simply walk out of one domain and walk into something else. Yeah? I think he is successful not because he created success, but he has become, what should I call it, successful. I don't know how to put it, if I'm able to make sense. He's got that kind of successful Advik inside him. Right. In the sense, he may not have got what is worldly known as successful, but he has kind of got it there in terms of skills, in terms of his confidence, in terms of his way of looking at anything, right from problems to peoples to research to developing, because even in his stock marketing, he even coded to develop a small code to predict things and so on and so forth. So you see how many things he would have done, so that he is now in that sense a successful person from inside. Now you can't stop the successful person from creating whatever else he wants to create in life. So that's the way I look at it, that you are successful even if the field does not recognize you as successful, and you can always walk out into another field if you don't continue to like there for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think I also want to kind of invite parents to really question the one way of looking at success, right? I mean, somewhere we've all been boxed to look at success in only one way. I feel the ability or the responsibility to lead life on one's terms and in take charge of one's learning or one's profession or whatever journey, that is success to me in itself, right?
Absolutely.
Because we've learned to live life. So maybe the question is also to kind of question the whole norm of success that we've all
Yeah.
kind of looking at.
In fact, my friend had shared an interview of a stand-up comedian who was talking about that. He was saying that, oh, he went to a big stand-up comedian and said, "You are so successful. I feel terrible. I'm not at all successful as a stand-up comedian." So he said, the famous guy said to him that, "Do you get to stand in front of audience and kind of do it?" He says, "Yeah, I get to do it, but I'm not like there as you." He
Mm.
says that is success, to be able to stand up and do that, which is what I say to my son, to be able to go and play a match. That to him is a success in football. Or if somebody is into dancing, to be able to dance, or somebody is into designing, to be able to design. That is success, not necessarily how popular or how, yeah. So I think that's where the real and I think as we have evolved as a civilization, as a generations, I think we have started looking and respecting people on that basis. I would say this whole generation of Instagram and YouTube is respecting people for what they are doing, not
Mm.
necessarily where they have reached, because they're just embracing everybody, and I think that is so beautiful.
Right, right. Yeah, and like, okay, the whole monetary aspect or how much fame, I mean, these are not wrong things to think about, but but the also the aspect is, so if a family is looking at focused on, if they want their child or if the youth wants themselves to kind of find their interests or discover their passion, if that's the mindset they come from, I think, we kind of run with the baggage of all these future events, in terms of how successful I would become or how much money I would earn. I would say pause, enjoy and kind of invest yourself in this moment. If you're coming from that mindset, yes, these are important things and they will take their course as it happens in future. But to kind of be loaded with that baggage is somewhere, you're disrupting the journey, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all the Guru Janyas of all the world says live in the moment, right? And I think there is a very deep truth in that, and they don't mean to say don't do anything. They would say do deeply what you value right now. So, yeah, if somebody wants to find diamonds in a river, let's go walking in the river and let's keep walking.
Okay. Hmm.
And that is what
Okay, so
CoVersity is all about. Everybody walk your river to find your own diamonds.
yes, yes. Okay. So, Ratesh, what about finding your interest really so early in life, right? Everybody's the youth especially is bombarded with, okay, what are you doing? What's your current, like, what's your interest? What's your next goal? What about that? How do they handle that?
Mm. Yeah, I think the real meaning. First of all, there is no hurry. At least I think youth should take it out of their mind that there is no hurry. In some cases, the financial need would be important, but in a lot of cases, the parents can very easily support. So I think if I was a youth, I'll first negotiate that side. I would say, okay, till when can you let me really? Because this pressure isn't going to help anybody. So let me
Hmm.
first, get that negotiation that, okay, till when are you ready to financially support me? And let's assume I can work out a good deal. And then I can assure the parents as part of that deal that it is not that I'm going to waste my years or while away my time, but it is that I'm going to explore, different possibilities in my life so that I can go there. So don't put this onto me so early. Let me
Hmm.
let me give me time, which is why in fact I invite that 14, 15, 16 is a good age to start this journey of deep exploration, so that you have got whatever 8, 10 years to find out what is it, rather than later on some midlife crisis figuring out what to try and do. So I think people should put, the youth should put this in perspective, catch this term like midlife crisis and point to a lot of people who don't know what they are doing at 35, 40. So I would rather spend that time right now when they have all the energy. So, yeah, but finally the message is to the parents, and I'm sure there are lots and lots of parents who don't want to put that pressure on their children. And I would say this, yeah, that's beautiful that most parents are in today's world is already thinking about, let's give more time to our children. There's no hurry. There's no hurry to reach anywhere, and let's invest. Yeah. There's no hurry to find anything actually.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, when you were talking about the midlife crisis, I could really think of my own example. It was only at 25 that I thought, oh, no, 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 this is not the life I was kind of looking for. It's always like you put your abhi mehnat kar lo, and then, it's like
Yeah.
life is good. I think that works. I mean, that's the biggest con thing ever told. So live in the moment, enjoy this. Baad mein dekhenge, but focus on what's interesting, and what's really, calling out to you at this moment, and give it your all.
Which is where the CoVersity values you as youth. Youth includes the U, YOU, and then comes the TH. So the youth starts with you, because we need to value them and value their visions, their passions, their interests, and I think support that rather than worrying about anything else. And let's see how they evolve as individual, right? And I think that's the beautiful part.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've kind of gone deep into this whole aspect of deep diving, and maybe we pause the conversation for now. And for people who have been with us for so long, thank you, and do let us know if there are any other topics that you would like us to cover, and we'll take up in the future live sessions.
Yeah.
Any final word for the youth, Ratnesh?
Do work, man, and everybody else will stop questioning you. Show the work. Work speaks, according to me. So if whichever field, if you are into guitaring, just guitar 16 hours, automatically everybody will stop questioning you. Even you will stop questioning yourself, because then you can see. So work is most beautiful. Do work in the field that you like doing. Automatically everything will fall in place. That's the way I look at it. Otherwise, we are all the time thinking we'll get some clarity. There's no need of any clarity when there is work, when there is a joyous work. I'm not talking about work to satisfy something or earn something, but to have lots of joy during the day. That's the way I look at it. And that's what CoVersity invites youth to. Come over, we'll all work together.
Absolutely, with utmost intensity, and where it just feels like you're wanting to do more.
Yeah, super intense, super rigorous, and super rewarding, not necessarily in terms of outside rewards, but to self.
Yes. Okay, then thank you, Ratnesh, and we'll hopefully meet again in another live session.
Thank you. Bye-bye.